Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Inverted Castle, a Metroidvania enthusiast podcast. I'm Eric Fox, your host who's really more of a parasite, and joining me as always is the end result of decades of unethical scientific research, Mr. Thomas Blight.
I live only to kill.
Don't we all? And today we are looking at the classic, the genre-breaking, accolades-having first foray for Retro Studios, Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
For the GameCube, released back in 2002.
Though arguably not the first 3D Metroidvania. I mean, I guess it's the first 3D Metroid game.
It's the first 3D Metroid game, I should be clear, yes. The N64 did see some attempts at Castlevania trying their hand, which, honestly, looking at those, kind of makes sense that Nintendo was reticent to try making a Metroid game for the N64.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, so, I don't really have a good idea of what makes a 3D Metroidvania.
I mean, for me, it's really just this game, and all the other ones have certain problems, but spoiler alert. In my opinion, this game slaps. It slaps my whole bod, and it is kind of probably the main reason I like the genre in the first place, but I guess we'll get into that later. This was, in my opinion, just masterpiece of adapting the Metroid specifically formula, but Metroidvania in general, to what is essentially a first-person shooter/adventure.
Yeah, which controversially at the time didn't have two-stick controls.
No, you had the C stick, but that was used to change your gun beam types, right? At least in the original GameCube release. I think both of us have been playing the trilogy version, which adapted the Wii controls to it, which does make it a bit more like a classic twin-stick FPS.
Yeah, although, I mean, the lock-on is still there, so you don't really need to aim that much as long as you hold the Wiimote at the center of the screen.
Yeah, the lock-on is really what the game's designed around. You don't really need to have that kind of quick twitch aiming.
Yeah.
In any case, yeah, this is a Metroid game, but it is to other FPSs of its day sort of what Super Metroid would have been to a game like Contra 3. Very much slower paced, very much atmospheric, explore 'em up, action being you're essentially a walking tank rather than an agile shoot 'em ups person.
I mean, you're somewhat agile. You've got a dodge strafe thing.
Yeah, you have a while locking on, if you hold a direction, jump becomes a boost in the lateral direction instead, which was abused pretty heavily for some of the original speedrun strats back on the GameCube version.
You just lock on and dash?
Yeah, if you lock on in certain things that you could scan in the environment, you could clear gaps you're not usually supposed to. Is how you got your space jump early, which in this game was the double jump, which, in case you're unaware, being able to double jump in a game before you're supposed to really cracks this thing wide open.
Yeah, although the double jump is fairly early on in this game, so I feel like it's not going to crack it that wide open.
In broadest possible terms, I guess, in overall, you still visit a fair few areas before you get it. I think you get to the Talon Overworld, which is where this game takes place on. Chozo Ruins, into Magmore, into Phendrana, and then you gotta backtrack all the way to Talon just to pick it up, if I'm remembering the sequence correctly.
Yeah, I guess so.
I remember it because it's one of the few, kind of really bad instances of backtracking in this game, which is generally, in my opinion, quite good. Yeah? Oh, are we disagreeing here?
I mean, well, the other really bad instance of backtracking in this game is the frickin' ciphers at the end of the game. If you weren't perfect and picked them up all over while you were doing the game the first time through, which I wasn't.
Right. Did you not go to the zone that tells you where all of them are?
you can't get where all of them are until, like, at the once.
Oh, can you not?
At least it didn't let me.
Again, like, I didn't do it till later, too. I just couldn't remember if you could go to what is effectively just before the end game, and there's like 12 artifacts that are just MacGuffins you pick up, and they're scattered all over the land, and just before the final zone, there's clues for where all of them are.
Yeah. But
I thought...
at least, like, when I played it, it gave me the clues for, I think, the first 6 at the start of the game when I went there.
Okay.
And then going back, having gotten some of those, it gave me more clues. And then coming back the last time when there was only one missing that I didn't know where it was, it gave me that clue.
That's unfortunate and something I didn't recall because I've played this game several times. In fact, just before we started this whole project, I had just come off of replaying it. So, for the most part, I didn't go for the clues, I guess. If you have the right stuff and you're in the area, there's nothing stopping you from getting them. It's just that a lot of the things you need are fairly late game, and there's one in particular that, not this time, but the last time, really tripped me up, which was behind an X-ray wall. It's in the ice area.
In the ice area, yeah. That one took me a long time to find.
That one in particular, because unlike most places, like, the map doesn't tell you there's a door behind this one bombable wall.
Yeah.
So you have to have been fairly on target on the way and scanning everything. Actually, yeah, it's also not scannable. It doesn't show up in the scan visor, only in the X-ray visor.
Yep, it's really annoying.
Yep. But outside of that, this game is perfect, okay? Oh, I think we're going to have a difference in opinion in the stack rank, but alright.
Yeah, I think we are.
Alright.
I don't know, I feel like I thought this game was better when I played it in 2002.
Okay.
I feel like it is not actually that good.
In what ways, I guess? Like, is it like the general combat or like level design?
I would say combat especially is kind of meh. Which is understandable. It's not really, like, it's not really supposed to be a first-person shooter.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying, though, in that there's a lot of sameness to enemies, especially a lot of the ones that just, hit their back, or color-coded for your convenience, use the right gun.
Yeah, which, by the way, is a little annoying for someone who's colorblind.
Oh, which enemies would these be? The purple and red?
More the purple and white.
Oh, really?
For me. Oh, it's just like at a distance I couldn't tell if it was purple.
Okay. Fair point.
I mean, but also there was ways around it. You can scan them and they tell you which one it is.
I guess, but switching between the scan visor, which tells you lore and tips and tricks, and the combat visor does take a bit. Especially in this version where you can't just hit a button, you have to do you hold a button and then do a Wii gesture, basically. Yeah. You point to a specific spot to switch visors, which is one of the major, like, I guess, downsides to this particular port.
Yeah, especially some of the things that required you to swap more frequently. And so I guess, really, I don't care that much about the enemies just out and about in the world. Like, that combat is not spectacular, but I feel like they're more atmospheric than they are a challenge.
Yeah, for the most part, you can just walk right past. There are a few points in the game where there'll be like an enemy encounter room where you have to beat everybody up before the doors unlock, but for the most part, you just you can avoid them as you go. Actually, in particular, one of the better parts of this game is like the decoupled aiming with the Wiimote allows you to kind of just run and gun a lot easier to like not have to like stop, aim, lock on. You can just kind of fire away, especially the like smaller enemies that die in one hit.
Yeah, but for me, I was most disappointed, I think, by the bosses. I don't remember them being quite so, I don't know, underwhelming.
Okay, first off, I don't think they've ever been particularly whelming.
Yeah, in Metroid,
Yeah.
it's not their strong point, it's true.
Partially that's due to, they're really just checks for, okay, you have this new thing, and that's how you beat it. Occasionally. Foie gras is like the very first thing, which is just, kind of an annoying, shoot different targets to unlock its weak point, and then just do the bomb. It's, they're pattern-based and a bit too long, for their benefit, but for me, they're kind of just, alright.
Yeah.
Like, nothing I'd write home about. A lot of ground pound, jump over the shockwave attacks.
Yeah.
They use that trick a lot, and going through the series, it's, it never quite leaves their toolbox.
Did you realize that the first two bosses are just bees?
They are they're bees in
Wait. No, sorry, first and third boss. The second boss was, the
beetle, which is just
beetle.
a regular enemy at a certain point.
Yeah.
Essentially. The first boss, heavy quotes, they're just mini encounters, but like unique enough. One is a lot of bees that spin around you, and then the other is you jump over a spinning fire, jumping rope essentially, and just defend against infinite bees until you can destroy the robot.
Yeah. It's just, no, not a great time.
You actively did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, for me, I was fine with it. I guess, like, to a certain extent, being used to it after all these years and after all these playthroughs, it's just part of the game for me at this point, so it's hard for me to, like, still have active disdain for it. But it's also hard for me to say, like, no, this is good, actually. No, I like doing the same thing 4 times in a row.
Yeah, and, like, even in terms of, like, comparing it to, like, The Legend of Zelda, I feel like the Zelda bosses, for the most part, once you've done their thing, that's it. The battle is over. And I felt like in this, you spend a fair amount of time being like, okay, I know how to do the thing. Just give me the opportunity to do the thing, and I'll do the thing game. And it's like, oh, okay, I got the opportunity, and that dealt like a fifth of the boss's health bar. So now I'm going to do this another couple of times.
It's very interesting to see how speedruns do some of these boss fights, because they skip a lot of that with, like, skipping health phases with very specific amounts of damage, or, probably the worst boss in the game, Thardus, the golem, where you just keep having to switch between thermal vision and getting the one weakness. He's got, like, 8 to 10 different things you gotta shoot in succession.
Oh yeah, and he spends half the time rolling around.
Did you know he has a weakness to the plasma beam? A beam that you cannot, unless you were sequence breaking, get before that fight.
Yeah, I did not. And that makes sense. Man, how the heck do you sequence break to get the plasma beam before that fight? He gives you the spider ball!
You should check out a video of it if you haven't, but it involves going to Magmore, okay? More falling on top of an enemy that ricochets you up onto the platforms that you need to, like, kind of spin and then, like, platform, keep going up until you get to the spider ball section, which usually you just kind of magnetize, follow the path or whatever. But this time you gotta wedge yourself into geometry to get yourself a bit more runway to then do a bomb jump, like, into, like, unmorph, which gets you a bit more distance. Like, a lot of speedrun is just jumping over, like, geometry that's not supposed to be platformed upon. And thereby skipping that whole section and get the plasma beam, I think, third, as your third beam.
Alright.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This also, speedrun, gotta talk about the speedrun because this is a Metroid game, it's part of its DNA. You can build up infinite speed in certain areas, in particular, just before the wave beam, there's a boss there as well. Another one that does a big shockwave attack. Yeah. But if you build up infinite speed, you go through an artifact and also into the wave beam pickup, like simultaneously picking up both through the walls, and skip that fight and backtracking for that artifact later. So, again, this game's got some sauce to it. I tried to do the trilogy version of Space Jump early. It took about 2 hours before I gave up.
Yeah, some of those speedrunning techniques you have to be pretty talented to do.
I thought it was hubris on my part, really. I am not the gaming god I considered myself to be. Turns out playing this game like every couple of years does not actually equate to any sort of expertise.
I mean, if you don't challenge yourself, then you're not gonna...
And then I gave up like a coward. Would have been so cool, but man, the geometry I need to bomb jump off of for that thing is not good, not easy at all.
Fair. I mean, I'm over here just being like, hey, I remember how to morph ball bomb in the air. Yay.
Yay. Although the trilogy version does make it slightly easier by giving you Spring Ball. That was not in the original GameCube release.
Spring Ball?
Yeah, Morph Ball, if you flick the Wiimote, it just gives you an instant jump, as though you bomb jumped.
I don't think I ever tried that, because why would I flick the Wiimote?
You never accidentally flick the Wiimote if you were to, say, screw up spider balling or something. I don't know. Like, it actually just happened accidentally. I'd forgotten that was a thing for this version.
Yep. No, I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, my condolences. It doesn't change a lot, but it does make, if you're trying to, like, run through areas, as the Morph Ball's the quickest way.
That's fair.
Particularly with Boost Ball, which is one of the few unique items that was never seen in, like, Super or before in this game.
Yeah.
But regardless. So you hate bosses. That's fine. That's understandable. But that's not what you do for most of this game, right?
I suppose, yeah.
A lot of it's, like, platforming and, I don't know, just awareness of, like, searching out, like, very, like, specific scannable things, seeing what's destructible in the terrain and via what weapon. I don't know, how did you find, like, let's say, item collection? I assume, did you go for 100% or did you just grab the artifacts and skedaddle?
I didn't go for 100% this time. I had, I think, 11 missiles to get, and I don't remember how many power bombs there are in the game.
That's fine. You're not missing much. The reward for 100% is a bonus scene after the credits, I believe.
Oh yeah, I mean, I watched that.
Okay, so you did cheat.
Yes.
You did cheat. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Oh, that's fair. You don't need to earn things anymore.
Look, YouTube exists. We don't need to full complete things. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like, so I could have like looked up where all the missiles were on my artifact collecting runs, but by the time that I had gone through the exact same loop to the Phazon mines twice, because the one artifact that I didn't know about was the one where you just go to the Phazon mines again and kill a guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you don't know that he's there. Whoops.
Yeah.
Man, I am carried by prior knowledge. I don't
know. It was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't know that I'm gonna go search for all of these. There's also, like, in other Metroid games, there's indicators that you haven't found a secret, or that you have found a secret in a room.
Yeah, unfortunately in this game, and I believe in Echoes, shares a similar... There's no in-game way to know if there's something there, other than there's a sound effect that plays if you're, like, close physically. But, yeah, there's, like, this little, like, low hum that gets louder as you're...
Yeah, like, all the pickups have that hum.
Yeah, so that's really the only lonely indication that you're gonna get.
Can't say I ever used that hum to figure out that there was a pickup around.
It was useful in a couple of places, but for the most part, if it's not immediately obvious, you're not even going to know. It's not that loud of a hum, and you do need to be somewhat close, and some of these zones are quite big.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, by the end of the artifact runs, I did not have very much interest in revisiting things without having any idea what things I needed to revisit. Like, all of the obvious ones that I could remember, like the ice walls in Phendrana that you need the plasma beam for, I got those already, right?
Okay, yeah. The obvious ones that your mental map still carried, but
yeah,
there's probably like a whole bunch of things you just didn't know, didn't think to check. Yeah, especially things that require X-ray scope that you can't use the scanner for.
Oh yeah, I was not a big fan of the X-ray for the hidden platforms, and I think I did this when I first played it too. I just sat in the big tree room, being like, I feel like I should be able to get to this door. Maybe
What?
I'm just jumping wrong.
No, well, kind of. You're not jumping to things you can't see.
Yeah.
One thing I will also grant you is that the layout of the land is more sprawling than would be beneficial to an exploration run. Like, to get from any zone to any other zone, you're often just heading through Magmore.
Yeah.
Over and over again, which at the beginning, I think I mentioned this in our initial episode, but like, that music was good until it was the 89th hour I'd heard it.
It's so catchy, though.
That's its problem, though.
Yeah, it was catchy enough that my wife was humming it after I played, and was like, haha,
Haha.
got you.
Finally.
Yeah. I don't know. At some point, I think my 5th or 6th trip through Magmore, I just started running through the lava because I had enough health that it wasn't going to kill me.
Yeah, actually, also,
Pro speedrunning strats.
pro speedrunning strat, they do 2 hell runs without the Varia suit through Magmore. Almost as if giving a nod to the Super Metroid speedrun, which does a similar thing. The Varia suit, of course, providing protection from heat. Don't need that, just have a few health tanks and you're good to go. If I had managed to get the high jump, or the space jump, I would have made an attempt at that. But perhaps for everyone's benefit, especially my own, I was spared that particular distress. But
Fair. So I guess reviewing the games, the other games that came out, which there's a ton in the critically acclaimed set, so I'm just gonna randomly mention some.
give some context, because hey, this game had its competition. Gotta view it in context.
I mean, this was a big year for Nintendo.
Oh, hell yeah.
Battlefield 1942,
Okay.
Burnout 2, Eternal Darkness.
Eternal Darkness, now that's a game and a half.
Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City.
Both in the same year?
Yep.
Wild.
I mean, Grand Theft Auto 3 might be a re-release, actually. I'm not. Yes, Grand Theft Auto 3 was releasing for Windows that year, apparently.
Oh,
Okay.
Technicality. We'll count it.
Technicality. Mafia, 2 Medal of Honor games.
Okay, now that one makes more sense to dual release. They were cranking them shits out.
Medieval Total War, which I assume is the first Total War game.
It's the first one I know of, because after that was like Rome Total War, and it just kind of spinned out of control. Never played them, though.
Yeah. There was also a second Metroid game in this year, because Metroid
Yes.
Fusion came out for the GBA.
Yes, Nintendo kind of hedged their bets and made sure that there was a classic two-dimensional side-scrolling release that would pair with Prime. I think they had like a little bit of the GameCube GBA link cable shenanigans.
Oh yeah, I did have a GameCube link cable to play Four Swords.
Yeah, I think Four Swords and Crystal Chronicles were really the only like major users of that particular peripheral.
Yep.
It's
Oh yeah, I guess I got it for Crystal Chronicles, but whatever. Yeah, that link cable was ill-advised. But yes, you were mentioning, and I interrupted you.
Oh, just saying that, like, yeah, I think if you had Fusion at the same time, I think you got the Fusion suit to play in Prime.
Yes, and if I recall, the original Metroid is in Metroid Prime or something like that.
Oh. News to me, but also doesn't really surprise.
There was something about it that I can't remember. Yep. If you link your completed fusion,
Okay.
you can play the original NES Metroid.
See, back when they made you prove that you're a gamer, you can't just go on YouTube and play Metroid.
I mean, you probably can.
Actually, wouldn't people have done some heinous crimes with the internet and NES ROMs at this point? Regardless.
To do other things that are important in this list, Ratchet and Clank.
The first one?
Yeah, there's no subtitle.
Hell yeah.
Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast.
Which is the sequel to Dark Forces 2. So it's like the third in a series, but also the second.
Mario Sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
Morrowind.
Okay.
Sorry, The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
Oh, now I was confused.
Both the Zelda Four Swords / A Link to the Past and Zelda Wind Waker.
But only the Japanese release.
Yeah, it counts.
It counts. Yeah, the Link to the Past had this weird multiplayer thing that I guess got more fleshed out in the GameCube Four Swords Adventures.
Yep.
Never played it with friends, because who had 3 friends with the GBA to GameCube Link adapter? Seriously, what were they thinking?
I mean,
extreme AVGN voice. What were they thinking?
I had 2 brothers who were not that far from me in age, and we each had a Game Boy Advance, so, having the link cables for that was not that strange for us.
Yeah, fair enough. Some people are just born lucky, I guess.
Not even the weirdest peripherals that we own.
No, not by a long shot. I've been to your house.
I think that still is held by the Japanese GameCube keyboard controller.
I love that thing. It's a full keyboard with just the GameCube controller on either half.
Yeah, how else we were gonna play Phantasy Star Online?
Man, honestly, not having it might have saved you a whole lot of grief.
Oh, we had already played the Dreamcast version and sunk far too long into that as well.
Did you have a keyboard for that one too?
Oh yeah, that one I think just took a regular keyboard with an adapter or something? No, maybe it did have a custom keyboard.
Regardless, that's... Oh man, games were weird back then.
Yeah, this is just turning into a nostalgia trip, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Splinter Cell, the first one.
The first one.
Unreal Tournament 2003. Warcraft 3.
What? No. Really?
Yeah, Warcraft 3.
I thought that was earlier for sure. Maybe not.
No, StarCraft was, I think, 98.
Okay. Huh.
So, StarCraft, then Brood War.
Yep, okay.
Then
my
Warcraft
mistake.
3 sounds about right in the timeline.
Sick. But that's PC games. They don't count yet. We're still console babies.
But, yeah, I mean, this is also a game where we were both, young little tweeny boppers.
Yep. I didn't even play it on release. I don't think I played this game till, 2004 when I could rent it for an entire week.
I feel like maybe it wasn't release. Because I played both Fusion and Prime.
Simultaneously?
Probably not.
So I remember playing it around the same time that I was getting way into SNES emulation, so it was yes, Super Metroid on my ZSNES emulator. Ooh, yeah. Turn those filters all the way up. And then simultaneously getting the 3D variant and not really understanding how big of a stretch this really was. But
yeah. Did you want to describe the plot at all? I feel like this is something we normally do, but also Metroid games don't have that much plot.
This game doesn't have a lot of plot. It's got a lot of lore. But the plot, such as it is sure. So you play as Hunter of Bounties and Dealer of Metroids, Samus Aran, show up on a derelict ship at, just hey, something's going on down here. There's some parasites mucking things up, space pirates. It's very similar to the opening of Super Metroid. Ridley's there, explosion, lose all your powers. Classic start. And then it's really just follow him down to the planet Talon 4, an old Chozo, which are a bunch of bird people, makers of your suit. This is all background lore stuff. And basically, whole long time ago, bad meteor hits planet. It's got this stuff called Phazon, which is just super gasoline that makes you real sick. But also space pirates want it for energy. And there's Metroids, space pirates trying to get the Phazon. You're trying to get to the meteorite to blow it up because it's bad.
Yeah, it's like pure haterade. It just makes things angry and kill.
Oh man. It is, yeah, it's blue, it's glowing, it's going to be around for the next 2 games. And so, part of the thing that if you get 100% is after defeating the Metroid Prime, which was inside the meteor and is souped up on Phazon, it grips your suit, which has also been powered up by Phazon at this point. Everyone loves Phazon. And is essentially...
Yeah, it pulls the black and white filter off of your suit.
Yeah, it pulls a black and white filter off of your suit and sets up the next game where there's this alternate Samus mucking things up, which is just, Metroid Prime doing some Phazon shenanigans with, I guess, remnant DNA that it pulled from your suit. In addition to the Phazon, it's not clear.
Yeah, which they really liked because they essentially did the same thing in Fusion.
Yeah, kind of.
Which came out this year, so...
Yeah, no, I think there was some respective peeking at each other's notebooks for these 2 games. But, yeah, that's kind of the overarching plot. Everything else is, most creatures, enemies, there's a bunch of, tablets they can scan for lore from the Chozo race, talking about this great worm, this calamity. This thing's called a Geemer, and it's important that you know it's called a Geemer, because I know it's called a Geemer. It's this little bug thing. Don't run into it, but otherwise it's pretty much harmless. But the best part of this game is the space pirate logs, because these boys are horny for unethical science. There is nothing they will not do in the interest of making Metroids super, super powerful and also uncontrollably, angry. As well as inject that stuff directly into themselves, because high command demands it, and they're just so incompetent, and they keep talking about the Hunter, and how mad they are that you keep stealing their stuff. It's my favorite iteration of just, I guess the space pirates in general. It's the first time they ever got any kind of limelight, other than generic bugs you shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in the other ones it's pretty much just hey, there's bug guys in between Mother Brain and Ridley and stuff.
Yeah, always unclear where Mother Brain fit into the space pirate hierarchy. Ridley, I guess, is just one of them, but looks real different. I guess he commands them, but is also, kind of a monster they kind of just keep around because he's good at the fight. They keep rebuilding him, so he's gotta be good for something.
He's excellent at violence, I think. Was actually a space pirate log.
Truly. Top of his class. Yeah, how did you find the, lore aspect to this? Because, okay, so you hate the combat, find everything else tiresome. I'm not putting words in your mouth. This is verbatim what you said.
Yep, clearly.
What was your scan log %?
I didn't reach 100%. And I don't know where I missed things, and I always managed to miss some of the Chozo lore or the pirate data somehow.
Some of them are in really awkward or jerk-ass-ish positions, but you don't really need to get all of them, but anytime when one was there, I was just the best part of the game.
But I read pretty much everything I could. They actually give you a bunch of hints towards the bosses as well. For instance, I think in the Phazon mines, they're oh, by the way, these guys are weak to missiles.
Oh.
It's I hope the Hunter doesn't shoot missiles at us.
Otherwise, how would you know that they were weak to explosive damage?
I think they were also weak to everything else too, so I was did that actually matter?
Maybe they're most weak. Yeah, sure, you can deal damage with a grass-type move, but gotta get that stab and like super effective, it really adds up. Plasma beam was kind of the best option for most of the game, though, once you got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the last beam that you get if you're doing it normally.
Us peasants have to go through things in sequence. One of these days, I'll curb this collectivist personality of mine.
That's something different. You're
completionist.
Gonna go become a Soviet with your collectivist?
Well, maybe that is what I meant. You don't know. Shut up.
Maybe. I do wish that the beams were a little different. I don't know. I guess mostly because of the first-person perspective, and the beam switching, I can't help compare it to different weapons that you would get in a first-person shooter, and they're really all the same thing. I guess the ice beam is slow.
Ice beam is slow. Charged wave homes in. Power beam allows you to do super missile, which is the only good beam/missile combo thing you get.
Yeah, it's certainly the most missile efficient.
Certainly the most missile efficient. I don't know. Ice, until you get the plasma, took care of Metroids and certain other enemies better, just for the freeze, missile, boom, dead.
Yeah.
They functioned slightly differently, but I get what you're saying, that they're not as distinct between each other as, say, an assault rifle and a sniper.
Yeah, and I guess that's another thing of, this is not a game that was originally set up to have you, doing complex things with your aim. This is a game for you to lock on, right? So they're not gonna give you a lob shot.
Yeah, or give you anything that needs, bullet drop off, as long as you're locked on, missiles and the wave beam, they'll basically just auto home in, or even if things are moving. Yeah, it's not a focus of the game, and I think that's fine. I thought it did okay as functioning as both key and slight difference in beam. Whatever one I had on, unless it was just really bad at whatever I'm fighting, I just kind of try it. Oh, I've got the ice beam on, it's kind of slow, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. There was, in the backtracking, some annoyance when I had to switch to a specific beam, and just couldn't these doors have become generic after I cleared them the first time or something? Why do I have to keep switching to this wave beam?
Yeah, they do that with the missile doors, as, you break it off once and you're good, but missiles obviously take ammo, so I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah. Actually,
this game, at least earlier in development, wasn't going to have Morph Ball at all. It was going to be strictly first person all the way.
I guess that explains why they're so, not really integrated.
No, that was part of the thing, is, they couldn't get it to work in first person, and the switching between first and, the third person out of the suit ball form obviously took a minute of design work to get it right, but I guess, order from on high from, Daddy Nintendo was, this game has Morph Ball, or this game does not exist. So they made it work, and honestly, without knowing that, I would not have been able to tell that, there's a lot of this game that's the ball dot zone.
Yeah, I will say some of the Morph Ball stuff is not the most interesting.
I don't know, you didn't like the half pipes? Didn't like to vert ramp it?
I don't know. I feel like by the end of the game I should have understood how to do the half pipes better.
I'm going to say yes.
But, I don't know.
There is a specific timing to it, but I think it worked fine. Shoutouts to the Tony Hawk fever of the era for giving us a half pipe. I guess it makes sense. The Chozo were a bunch of birdmen.
Look, the Chozo just really like skate parks.
Clearly. Listen, the Phazon made them so sick. But, yeah, there's not that many, but it is kind of weird to just see a half-pipe in otherwise ancient ruins. Usually they try to contextualize it in, this was a water basin, and now it's, now you drain the water, go nuts. But some of them are just, this glacier happened to form this way.
Oh, look, this perfectly bold valley.
It's not perfect, but I think this game would be lesser if it did not have sick vert ramps. And yeah, the spider ball tracks were often not particularly interesting.
Yeah, Sometimes it was just like, oh, well, here's a random pattern of tracks.
I think they do a bit more with it in the sequels, but we're not there yet. Again, I think it's fine, but it's hard for me to say. This is what makes this game great, is Spider Ball.
The ones that were actually, like, somewhat of a challenge was, I guess, to get to the plasma beam. I did fall off once, and I was like, I was all the way there.
Failure needs to actually be a threat.
Yeah, it's just a threat to my time, because I spent 5 minutes rolling back.
But aren't they always just threats to your time?
I mean, I
Technically.
suppose, in that you can always reload a save.
Yeah. Anyway, what else? Game doesn't have, like, a lot of story. Technically, it takes, like, the whole trilogy takes place in between Metroid 1 and 2, insofar as canon's concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt anything in the main series is going to acknowledge it.
Well, Dread's not out yet.
I am willing to bet Dread is not going to acknowledge Metroid Prime at all.
Yeah, none of the Japanese-developed Metroids really did, and the less said about Federation Force, the better. Did you play that game?
Did not play that one.
Me neither. I did watch a Let's Play of it, though.
Isn't that a sequel to Metroid Pinball?
I can't say for certain. I don't think so. Because I don't think it's technically really a sequel to anything, because there's just nothing there.
I just wanted to talk about Metroid Pinball because...
Okay, tell me about Metroid Pinball and how it factors into the greater canon.
I don't actually know that much about Metroid Pinball. I just remember it being
you brought it up.
And being, yep, this is a weird adaptation thing.
It's where Samus learned how to be spherical. It's the origin story of the morph ball.
Yep. That's the first time she went into the morph ball. She couldn't figure out how to get back out.
Oh, what a zany adventure that was. Oh man. Yeah. It's a shame that you didn't enjoy your time there. And you never played any of the sequels.
I have not. Which I guess maybe at some point I should, because I've heard Prime 2 is good.
So as much as I love this game, I do consider Prime 2 to be the best of the three, but it's also for very specific reasons and like personal preferences. I can absolutely imagine someone who hates it with a fiery passion, and I am concerned that you will be said person.
I mean, I don't hate this, I just feel like it shows its age. I don't know.
That's the opposite of me. I think it's still good to play, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like a lot of design has moved on from it, I guess.
Sure. I don't know. I just don't think the lows really hit me particularly hard, and what it made up for with like I don't know. I think the pacing of like just the general progression, not necessarily the getting 100%, not recommended, and you really don't need to, but general progression outside of the very end and the middle to get space jump, I think was really smartly done. I think the platforming for being a third or a first-person game actually works out quite well without having the problem of not being able to see your feet.
Yeah, I think it seems like they made all of the jumps pretty forgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so specific of a jump that if you overshoot or undershoot, you're done. They're fairly wide, and you have a good sense of your forward momentum, and especially once you get the space jump, you can make a lot of mistakes and correct them.
Yeah, I did do some dumb stuff with the grapple beam.
Hell yeah.
For some reason, it never occurred to me that you can just hold on to the grapple beam and like swing backwards.
Yeah, you don't have to let go. It's not illegal.
Or change your motion in while you're grappled.
Yeah, as you swing back and forth, kind of...
Which made that one room in Phendrana really annoying.
Oh, is that the one with the, like... There's like a creature that flies around in the sky?
Yeah, I believe that's also the place where the artifact is that you have to look at the wall with the X-ray. The one that I'm thinking of, at least.
There's a few rooms with that particular grapple creature, but yeah, you gotta wait till it's in the right position.
Particularly, this one is the only place, I think, where there are 2 grapple points, but you can't line yourself up to go to both of them from a standing position, I think.
Again, prior knowledge, I
mean, like, I've played Super, you just grapple and you hang there, right? So there's no excuse that I wouldn't think that it worked like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
it just took me a while to be like, hey, wait a minute, I don't need to be trying to jump this immediately.
I've been so hard on myself. Super never had the third dimension either, so maybe just that never occurred to you.
I also kept jumping into my grapples, which frequently landed me in the lava.
Yeah, you can kind of just do it directly from the ledge. You're fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Like, mostly, I just think it's adaptation of a lot of the grapple beam, I think condensing super missiles into just part of the main missile count, just kind of saved on, like, clutter of different items.
Yeah.
Making things a bit more lateral instead of vertical for most... There's a fair few vertical levels, but it definitely suited the first-person tank methodology of your movement in this game.
Yeah, and the only, like, really vertical area... I mean, it's not even that vertical in the, like, design of the level, but I did not like looking at the map for phase-on mines.
It was a bit cluttered. For the most part, I think the map works for what it needs to get across to you. It's very hard to do a three-dimensional map, especially one this large. They made an effort of it.
Yeah.
It's not everything you'd want, especially like at some point knowing when there's a pickup in a zone would be nice, but
yeah. I mean, there were a couple pickups that I could, like, I looked at the map and it was like, there's a pickup there. Just based on the fact that there's this little piece of the area jutting out. It's like, there's a pickup there and I'm going to have to morph ball to get to it.
Yeah, so leave your collectivism at the door, and I think you'll have a decent enough time, but perhaps nostalgia is clouding my vision.
You heard it here first. We're the podcast that's redefining collectivism.
Yeah, I'm taking it, not back, but I'm just taking it, I guess. It's mine now.
Ironically, not very collectivist of you.
It's like how literally now also means figuratively. It's cool. But anyway.
Oh man. Clearly the weird capitalist reading of Metroid Prime, in which Samus has the ability to go through all these people's stuff and take their things and blow them up, and so she must.
It's only fair. Honestly, it's essentially inheritance. She's basically Chozo-kin.
Yeah, it's only fair that the Ubermensch seizes all that she desires.
Listen, have you heard, or at least read, what these space pirates are up to? They do not deserve it, and honestly, they're gonna hurt themselves if they keep it.
Fair. That just sounds like the weirdest, like, Saturday morning cartoon. Which, as far as I know, there are no cartoon adaptations of Metroid. But I'm just imagining Samus being like, you space pirates can't have this dangerous technology.
Zoinks, it's the hunter again. Grab the thermal visor. Oh, beans, it's so hot. Oops. I do wish this existed, man. And the space pirates only get better in the later games.
Did she appear in Captain N?
Oh yeah. I'm not sure how regularly, because I never watched the show, but...
I've never seen any Captain N.
Pretty sure, her representation was perhaps more 100% completion end screen than main game, but, you know.
What, like she was in her underwear?
I think more or less she was the girl in that era of nerdish cartoons, so... But again, I'm speaking completely out of my ass, so take it with monstrous piles of salt. Any case...
Speaking of monstrous piles of salt,
yes.
Let's talk about where we're ranking this in the stack rank.
I was about to say, on that particular pile, so I'll go first. I'll rip this Band-Aid off. I know it sucks to hear, but I'm putting this number one with a bullet.
Whoa, you're putting it number one?
Yeah, above Hollow Knight.
Whoa.
I can't not. This game has been with me for too long.
Wow.
I still love it a bit,
yeah.
Even if there's a few niggling things that crop up. I just have so much fun with it.
Well,
one of these days I'll learn how to do the skips, but
we are definitely diverging now.
All right, how far down? Is it below? It's not below fucking Xanadu, is it?
No, it's not that bad. The big debate for me is, was Guacamelee more fun for me?
Ooh, okay.
And I think I'm kind of leaning towards yes.
Oh, no. Part of me is like, yes, finally, we're diverging in opinion enough. but also, you horse garbage of a person, you sack of a man. How dare you? How dare you insult my baby like this? The baby. No, wait, no, that's not a... Other M, I think we can agree where it would go, but...
Yeah. Let's avoid Other M for a while.
Okay, actually, no, I don't respect you, but I will bite my tongue, sir. And I'll also bite my thumb. Okay. Heartbreaking, but fine. I see how it is.
I mean, it's not a bad game. I just feel like it...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It pissed in your Cheerios. It's fine.
I don't know. Maybe if we ever release these, there will be people very angry at me.
Oh, I can't wait.
For my Metroidvania hot takes.
Hot take. Metroid Prime is 20 years old, basically.
Oh god. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, you know that like image of like what you think Final Fantasy looks like 20 years ago, and it's the NES, but it's really Final Fantasy X?
Yeah.
Same exact feeling. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I thought of that, and I just said it, and I felt my bones turn to dust.
Yeah.
God, it's old, but it's still so good. They don't make games like this like they used to. Although I guess
yeah, they make them better.
I guess we'll find that out. For our next time, it's up to me to decide our homework.
Yeah, I will say this was at least more fun and more backtrackable than Metroid Other M.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm not foisting that upon us anytime soon. So I think we're going to scale it back a little, kind of return to, like, I think what is, like, the more, I guess, current day what Metroidvanias look like, which is, of course, indie darlings.
Mm-hmm.
I've been kind of going back and forth on how recent I want this to be, but I think for now, I've been meaning to play Environmental Station Alpha
Ooh.
for quite a while. I know it's not that large of a game, so hopefully it won't take too long, but it's I think it'll be a nice return to form after all of these, AAA, Konami, Nintendo, fucking... Let's see what one person's take on this looks like.
Yeah.
At least circa 2015.
I'm curious about this. I've played one of his other games, Baba Is You.
Not a Metroidvania.
No, not a Metroidvania. Still a great game.
Love that game. It's an incredibly unique puzzler. Regardless, yeah, Hempuli, I believe, is the developer, and we will find out how good this alpha is. Can't wait for Environmental Station full release.
Yeah, it's been in Steam Early Access for a really long time.
Oh, man, that's just modern day gaming. What can you say? But anyway, got any closing thoughts?
No, I don't know.
Quick, how do we end this?
That's how we end this. I don't know. Actually,
Damn.
I guess maybe an ending thought, and you can cut this out if you want.
Sure.
Is Banjo-Kazooie a Metroidvania?
I can't. Okay, so I can't believe you just tack on another half hour like this. Because we're gonna need to go deep.
Look, I tried throwing this out earlier, and you were not getting where I was going with it, apparently.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't pick up on this wild idea of, are all collectathons like Metroidvania?
So,
will we need to play Banjo-Kazooie to find out?
In my heart of hearts, I feel like, no, a collectathon is not. But I feel more and more arbitrary about that decision.
It's this one's really getting down to how you feel when you play it, rather than any physical aspect of it.
But yeah, it's something about things though you need an arbitrary number of stuff to get through for the collectathons is just very not Metroidvania for me.
Yeah, but you still get like abilities that unlock like later areas. I think it's more strictly linear in its level progression, I guess, particularly Kazooie, but I don't know. I think this is one we're going to have to sit on, let it mellow.
Not Mario 64, though Mario 64 is also like level-based, so I don't know that I would count that.
Man, this is a whole can of worms. I don't think we can, just because this will get wildly out of control if we start letting those people in. please, this is a fancy establishment.
I don't know. I did actually look stuff up to see if there were things that people commonly consider 3D Metroidvanias. The interesting one to me was the Batman Arkham games.
That's interesting. I haven't played Arkham Asylum or any of its sequels myself, so I can't speak with authority. Yeah, I don't know. I really would have to get my hands on it to give any sort of insight.
Yeah.
Or watch a Let's Play. That's like playing it. We do have YouTube now. We've established this, and no one disagrees.
The other thing that I saw was God of War.
That's character action. It has a genre.
But are all genres just the same genre?
They're all the same genre, and that genre is roguelike. You know, it's a roguelike. It's not quite randomly generated, but you do move something around.
But yeah,
I know. I'm gonna stew on this for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about. I don't have a great definition of what a 3D Metroidvania is.
I think we need to play some games that distinctly are not to get a barometer.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Again, you can always talk about okay, that probably makes the Zelda games that are 3D Metroidvanias, right? And is that distinction an important distinction, or are we just splitting hairs?
Every time genre comes up, it's going to be an exercise in which specific hairs to split, and this is going to differ between people because everyone is getting a different thing out of these games, and what counts is just.
But Eric, we need to decide definitively whether a hot dog is a sandwich.
It's okay. A hot dog is a sandwich. An open-faced sandwich is a pizza. And that's my take.
And a pizza is also a taco.
A pizza is an open-faced taco, and a calzone is a sandwich. Okay, we got it. Done and dusted. But alright.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that wrench in there.
But in any case, I think that's gonna do it for us. I've been Eric Fox.
And I've been Thomas Blight.
And remember to drink your Phazon, teen. Take it easy, everybody.